Good morning, Bethany. We're so glad that you joined us on Ministry with Coffee today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I feel really humbled and honored to be here.
Well, I think you're pretty special. And I know you have a great story to share today. So, can we go ahead and get started because we only have 20 minutes, and so 20 minutes goes by so fast.
Yes, it
Uh,
does.
can can you share with the listeners what's going on with you and what you have to share today?
Yeah. So, as I was really just kind of praying through what is the Lord teaching me in the season that I'm in right now, I think the thing that I can say with confidence is my time, focusing on my time. Because it's not mine, it's God's time, so let's just name that right from the beginning.
Mhm,
But how I'm showing up in different spaces at different times with the people that I'm with, and how am I present? How am
mhm,
I not present because I'm in a million other places?
mhm,
Um, so really just sitting with the Lord, and I would actually say this really wasn't something you know how when you're in a season and then you look back at it when you're out of that season and you're like, "How did I do that?"
Yeah, we all have those.
We
Uh-huh.
all have those. So I think, for me, what really just kind of impacted me is I'm in this season right now where I've got three kids. I've got a 16-year-old, a 9-year-old, or sorry, let's go 16-year-old, 13-year-old, 9-year-old. That question of how old your kids are always throws me off because they keep changing birthdays, they keep changing ages. Like, what are they right now? So we've got 16, 13, and 9. And I just, go, go, go. My husband just started seminary.
Mhm,
We've got the three kids. One's in high school, one's in middle school, one's in elementary school, which means my morning is 3 hours
mhm.
long before I get started with my morning.
Oh
Right.
my goodness. So, are they going to three different schools?
Oh, three different schools.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. And three different forms of emails too, right? Like
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay,
I
okay.
can't handle my email inbox. But yeah, so just like the go, go, go of in the midst of 2 jobs, my husband being in seminary, 3 kids at 3 different schools, and this has been more recent, right? My husband recently started seminary. I recently started, a second job, and so I've just been go, 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 and it was actually, I know you were a part of the Propel Women Cohorts. It was actually at one of the in-person summits that and in the ministry space where we were just worshiping with the Lord, and, I just felt God say, "Where's your time with me?"
Oh,
And
ouch.
yeah, and I was like, "Mhm." So God told me to, start getting up early,
Mm.
and I've heard of people that do this, but I'm not one of them.
I'm kinda with you on that one. Okay, go ahead.
I'm
I
like,
don't say too much because I don't wanna have to commit to that.
"No, no." Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay,
What
okay.
what God has done, because I'm a night person, I'm not a morning person.
Uh-huh.
But I felt God very clearly say to me, "I need you to do this right now for this season. This is what I need you to do."
Mhm.
And I set my alarm every day, and it has been easier than I would have ever imagined for me to wake up at that time. I wake up at 5:30. I don't start getting my kids out the door till 6:30. Well, it's my 16-year-old son, so let's just call a spade a spade. He gets up and brushes his teeth, gets dressed, and we're out the door, as opposed to my daughter who takes an hour to get ready.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So he gets up at 6:30. So I have a full hour to sit with the Lord
Mm.
and to read the scriptures. And I do a prayer exercise. It's called praying with color.
Mhm.
My brain is more wired to take something and put a picture to it, and so I have these watercolor pencils that I use, and I really spend time just in prayer for people, and I actually ironically have them right here, so I could show you.
Hey.
I have this whole book, but I just did one for my family, just really just thinking about, how am I showing up for my family? So I started this like
Oh my
naming
goodness.
God for who God is, like the God who hears.
Oh,
And then
that's beautiful.
each person of my family, and then I took one sitting for my daughter. When another day I did, like there's no rush. There's no That's what I love about the morning time with God is, I get up, I get my coffee, and I have my scripture that I'm reading, and I'm reading it not to get through the Bible, but to
Mhm,
truly sit with the Lord.
mhm,
And so I'm taking my dear sweet time through every passage that I'm reading, um, and time of prayer with the Lord for various people or various things that He's put on my heart. And the really cool thing is my kids see it. My kids know this
mhm,
is mom's spot where she sits.
mhm,
And I've got my stack of my Bible and my colored pencils and usually a
mhm,
little cup of water because they're watercolor pencils. And you can just, it's
mhm,
so cool because you might color with blue, but then when you put water to it, it just illuminates. And to
mhm,
me, again, that's just like the symbolism of like God's just alive in the space of this prayer.
mhm.
He hears my prayer, the God who hears. So so I'm sitting with God and my kids get an example of it. But the other thing that God convicted me was, this is going to sound so strange.
No, it's not.
You're serving too much.
Oh,
Like that seems like an oxymoron, right?
yeah.
But my yes to my job, my yes to my other job, my husband's yes is also my yes to his seminary.
Mhm, mhm.
And I was involved in 6 different things in our church.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
It is a lot. And I I felt like God convicted me in the sense of saying, how are you investing in your kids? Do your kids know me? And I've always, listen, I was a children's and family pastor.
Mhm,
And always if you're not going to do it yourself, don't expect other families to be doing it.
mhm,
There's this tension, this dissonance, this lie that we believe as parents that I don't know enough about the Bible. I can't teach my kids. Somebody else can teach it. I heard a speaker once say, um, the awkward prayer of a parent is so much more impactful than a seasoned prayer of a pastor.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Stumble over it. Who cares? Say you don't know. Who cares? Like all the things. Who cares? Just
Mhm.
show up and just be with your kids.
Well, just like the Jewish families, every
Yes.
Shabbat, what did the mother do? She prays over each one of her child by name, and she
Yeah.
blesses them. That
Yes.
blessing is huge,
Mhm.
and it's something that we can learn from, even though I'm not Jewish. I can still
Absolutely.
adapt that to my own family, and so I do Shabbat, and
Mhm.
on Friday night, I have all my grandkids' name, all our kids' name, all their spouses, and I pray over each and every one of them. It's
They
powerful.
and they probably know you do it too,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just think there's like different seasons with our kids, um, that we can speak into, or it's how you live your life, right? It's not just like, okay, it's not checking anything off the box. It's not, or reading the Bible together. We're reading this one passage or we're doing this one thing. It ebbs and flows, especially as you think about just child development itself and what's appropriate. So like when my kids were itty bitty, we had craft sticks in a jar and we wrote down like 5 names of people that are family, 5 people that we know that don't know Jesus, 5 people that are in our church community. You can come up with different buckets, but then we would take one each night and that's who we would pray over. But then we'd also just take a picture of it and send it to that person to say, our family prayed over you tonight. Uh,
Oh, I love that.
yeah. Or Christmas cards. That was another one. Everybody throws out the Christmas cards after Christmas.
Mhm.
We would take those at dinner time and just pick one. And then we'd pray for that family
Oh,
at
what a
dinner.
great idea.
Yeah, so just like little things that you can incorporate, but all that to say, full circle, in the 6 different areas that I was serving within the church, I was really just seeking and asking God, like, what is the thing that you're inviting me to do?
Mhm.
And it was funny because I was driving to church and I felt like, God, I just want to serve you. I want to serve you. And I don't know always what that looks like,
Mhm.
but consider this my yes to you. And sometimes the enemy takes hold of that and says, well, I'm going to put some things in front of you that look like they're from the Lord, but actually it's distracting you from where the Lord is actually calling you. And so that very day at church, I had a woman come up to me and invite me to do a speaking thing for the elderly once or twice a year. And I said yes, because, I had just prayed that prayer on the way to church. So, of course.
And this one might be a counterfeit. Is this a counterfeit?
Oh my gosh. But then when I sat with the Lord, he was like, did I tell you to say yes to that?
Oh, oh.
Because that's taking away from your time with your kids on Sunday morning. Because my husband's a worship pastor at the church, and so I'm with my kids. So if I'm going over here and he's doing this, then where are my kids?
Oh.
So I needed to focus on my family. And my son and I were serving 4-year-olds and kindergartners. We were teaching them on Sunday morning. So our church has 2 services. Well, 4
Mhm.
services on a Sunday, but um so we attend one and serve the other, the Martha Mary, right? Serve
We do
and
that
sit.
too.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
um, but what I realized is I actually need to create a rhythm within my own home of rest,
Mhm.
and so instead of going to the first service now, what we're gonna do, because this is what God is just doing within me, is, I've bought them all books,
Mm.
and a set of colored pencils, and, um we're gonna sit everybody's gonna be ready by 9:30 in the morning,
Mhm.
fully dressed,
Mhm.
food eaten, breakfast eaten, and we're gonna sit for a half hour, 45 minutes, and it's probably gonna be hard. And my kids aren't always going to cooperate. They're gonna argue with each other more times than not.
Mhm.
But the conviction for me was you're opening up my word, but how are you opening up my word with your kids? You're
Mhm.
investing in all these other kids in the church. You're investing in all these other places in the church, and those are good things. But
Mhm.
what am I doing that only I can do?
Mhm.
I only have my kids, especially, I look at my 16-year-old, he's 2.5 years away from college,
Mhm.
assuming he goes to college. But the time goes so quickly, and I just felt a conviction from the Lord to say, you're spending your time in all these places serving me, but you're not spending your time serving me with your kids.
Oh, Bethany, that's a really good word. And I'm going to stop you because I think what I heard from the Lord when you were talking about that was that, yes, those things are really good and they're bearing fruit, right?
Absolutely.
I remember when God asked me to lay down some things a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And when I laid them down, I was like, but look at all the fruit, God, look at all the fruit. But he was saying, but I want to do more fruit.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, you have some apples on that tree, but
Yeah.
what if you could have on that branch? What if you could have apples on every branch on your tree instead
Mm.
of just that branch? And it really convicted me, like saying, absolutely, you know,
Mhm.
we want to do what he's calling us to do, not what we see that's right, even though it bears fruit and it's good. I love that
Yeah.
you said that because it's so important. Because I think so many women, if we see the fruit, we'll go, oh, but we have to do this. We've got fruit. And
Mhm.
he's saying, but I want to see fruit with your children
Mhm.
and the legacy that you're leaving them by doing what he's asked you to do will be a legacy that they will talk about to their kids.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, Bethany, that's a good word.
Yeah. Well, and don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying don't serve in your church,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Like,
I know, I know, I know, I know.
yeah, because that is, I mean,
Need
I
you.
was overflowing my plate and in spaces that were good, that were bearing fruit, but were not what God was asking me specifically to do.
That's good. That's
And
very
how
good.
did I know? Because I sat with the Lord, because I've been waking up and making time to sit with him.
Mhm.
Not because it's transactional, but because it's in communion with him.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just a sweet gift when God surprises you in ways that you were like, I'm doing this out of obedience. Um,
So, what would you share with the listeners about how to untangle themselves
Ooh.
and kind of do what you're doing now? Because I think you're going to find a lot of mothers are going to listen to this and go, I need to do this. God's been talking to my heart also about this, and I haven't been obedient yet.
Mhm.
So, I think a lot of them is how do you untangle yourself from all these commitments?
Yes.
So, kind of share.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was really, I didn't realize that I needed to untangle myself from all these commitments.
Yeah.
Um, and with sitting with the Lord, he convicted me. So I think when we look at our kids specifically, I think what I would say to parents in general is name the lies. We talked about this earlier. You and I were talking separately prior to this happening. Name it to tame it. Name the lies that the enemy is trying to speak to you, um,
Mhm.
and then look at what you've written down, and ask yourself: Is does this line up to God's character?
Mhm.
Does this uh, does this look like the fruit of the Spirit? Does
Mhm.
this conform to Scripture? Right? That's how we know that this is a direction that God is guiding me. And that, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. But really, just how do I even begin to untangle?
Mhm.
What are lies that I'm believing?
Mhm.
What are things that I'm doing that only I can do or somebody else could do?
Yeah, that's a good word.
Because
Mhm.
I can only be mom to my 3 kids. I can only be wife to my husband. Somebody else can teach on Sunday mornings, the
Mhm.
4-year-olds and the kindergartners. I love it selfishly. Like, I was like, I don't want to stop doing that, but I just knew that in the chaos of our schedules,
Mhm.
that is a sacred time that I can never get back. And
Mhm.
that is the time where it's going to work in our family schedule. Uh,
Mhm.
and I needed to prioritize that over any of the other things because that's the ministry God was calling me into, is calling me into right now. Doesn't always mean it's going to be easy. So I think the untangling comes with asking, what lies am I believing that is
Mm.
hindering me, those roadblocks that are hindering, because your mind is so powerful.
It
So
is, and it starts early morning. Starts
mhm.
right in the morning. He goes attacking us right away.
Yeah, that's why you have to start in the morning to put your armor on.
Absolutely.
I mean,
So,
would you go into
a
battle without armor? No.
no, it'd be crazy. Okay, so after you've been kinda going through this, it sounds like you're in this season.
Mhm.
So are you coming out and seeing some fruit from this, of making some of these changes? What are the fruit that you're seeing after you've made some of this commitment to the Lord of getting up at 5:30? 5:30. I hear you, Lord, I hear you.
Uh-huh.
Getting up at 5:30. What are the fruit that you're seeing just by being obedient to the Lord? Because fruit comes from being obedient. So can you share what you're seeing now that you've made some of these changes?
I think, the fruit that I'm seeing is my kids are aware,
Mm,
an awareness that I'm not just speaking that God is important, but they're seeing
mm,
that God is important, and it's driving more conversations with them.
mm,
Um, I am able to speak of my time with God, with my kids. So that has been so fruitful. We do highs and lows and where you saw God every night when we have our dinner time. And so I can very easily bring this into the conversation. Um, the fruit of saying no when I need to say no and saying yes to the things that God's inviting me to say yes to. And, I went to seminary myself and I left seminary with more questions than answers. My professor on the first day of class said, we're here to reconstruct your faith, not deconstruct it.
Mm,
And it was a reconstruction, and it always is, right? I sit in a position of learner, and I will be learning until I am back to dust. I will always be a learner, but just to sit, it's given me a peace,
mhm,
to really just to know God more.
mhm. That's good.
How do you know somebody you don't spend time with? You can't.
Mhm. That's the fruit. That's incredible fruit right there.
Hmm.
If that's all the fruit that ever happens from it, that's enough.
Yes.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And so, wow, what an incredible experience. Well, we're about to have to wrap up. So before we wrap up,
Mhm.
I'd like for you to leave just an encouraging word with the listeners, some moms out there that are struggling, that are in the same situation that you are in, having three kids, or even my daughter has five.
Oh, we'll pray for her.
Yeah. So when you have a lot going on, and I think I already shared with you, this generation is a lot different than when I
Yes.
was raising my kids. You guys your kids are going in so many different areas and they're so involved, and
Mhm.
which is wonderful, but it's also hard as a mom,
Mhm.
especially a working mom. So what would you like to leave with the listeners today, is the young mamas out there that are struggling too?
You're doing a great job.
Mm,
The the space that I sit in to say, "Oh, just wake up early." I realize that there's single moms out there. I
mhm,
realize that some are already getting up at 5:30, so that's actually not getting up early. That's just getting up to get the thing done that I need to get done.
mhm,
So find the thing that fits for you. Don't feel a guilt or a shame over this conversation,
mhm,
but rather just seek the Lord to say, what are you speaking to me specifically? Convict me in whatever this needs to look like. Um, but you have to sit with him to hear his voice, to know his voice, to discern his voice. So whatever that looks like for you in the season that you're in, God just delights in sitting with you. Whether that's in the car, whether that's in the grocery store, I think so much of the time we look at it has to look a certain way. I think at one point somebody would have said, if you're praying in color, like that's not a real prayer because you need to sit and kneel and fold your hands and bow your
wow.
head and
Yes.
close your eyes, like just be with the Lord. That's his yearning for you is, and I would say he just looks upon you and says, I love you. And I just want to be with you in whatever capacity and whatever way that looks. I just want a piece of you.
Mhm. That's a good word. Thank you so much for sharing that with them. I love the part of don't feel shame, don't feel guilt. You know,
Mm-mm.
I agree with you. Sometimes it might just be like that drive from one school to the next school.
Mm-hmm.
Might be the only time that you have, especially if you are a single mom. And so I love that you mentioned that, because I think they need to be able to be free, knowing that God is going to meet them wherever he can
Mm.
meet them.
Yep.
Even if it's just a little bitty bit of time, it's some time.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for being on today, Bethany. We're so glad that you came on, and I can't wait for the hearers to hear what you have to say. This is a great topic. So thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Okay, now I'm going to sign off. Hello, friends. I just want to take a moment and thank you for joining us today with Ministry with Coffee. We're so glad that you're here. And I want to ask that if this has moved you or encouraged you, the story that you just listened to today, that you would like our page and that you would share our page with your friends and your family. Together, if we work together, we can share the gospel of Jesus throughout the world at one cup, one story at a time. Thank you again for your support. We are so glad that you have chosen to minister and partner with us. Thank you again.